I think it's just natural that you want to go out and find someone that can give you some advice, that's got some expertise that maybe you don't, that maybe has some insight that you don't have. And that is, the role that the SBDC had with me.
BusinessJournalDaily.com. 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.
We are a value-added firewood delivery service. And what we mean by value-added is that our wood is seasoned, which means it burns right now. It's something that you don't buy in the spring and let it sit at your house. We will take smaller quantities to homeowners that aren't looking for big piles of wood in their yard, just for a nice small quantity on the weekend. And we specialize in restaurant deliveries who are very fussy firewood consumers. I've been in business for 7 years. This started off as a side hustle. It was just something I did for fun. And then I kind of had some life events that got thrown at me all at once, and I transitioned into a full-time enterprise. And then the next thing I know, I got this gigantic wood yard here, and sometimes I pull in here, I can't believe that this is mine, I wasn't born to be a firewood delivery service. It happened by accident. I believe if you're going to do something, I think you need to do it right. And I will tell you, I don't know what I'm doing. I have skills. I'm more of an operator. I'm not a business person. I'm not an accountant. I don't know any of this stuff. And I thought, maybe I don't need to know, but I can surround myself with people who do. So I just did some internet searches, and what do you know? I didn't know this, but the state of Ohio has a funded small business development center, a think tank that's at our disposal to help us out, point us in the right direction. And what the heck, they're right down the road in Youngstown at YSU. And I'll be honest, you feel when you're starting off on a business idea, I think you're vulnerable, because it doesn't take much for someone to say it's a stupid idea, and then you just the heck with it and you give up on it. So I was very vulnerable, and I ran the risk that if I took this brilliant idea to the SBDC, if they would have looked at me kind of funny, I would have probably just ended it right there. But they took me serious. They surrounded me with people with the skill sets that I needed. Accounting, business terminology, and mostly, being able to forecast how much I would need in sales to make a living out of what I'm doing. Because they said, well, Joe, how much money do you need to keep the house, keep gas in the gas tank, and keep your family going? So I came up with a number, and they says, okay, in order to do that, this is what you're going to need to sell. Your cost of goods will be this. And and they gave me that whole spreadsheet too, that I can tinker with it, and as my business changes and grows, I'm still able to use that as my forecast. The team at SBDC really pushed about getting online, having a website, having an online presence. And that is probably, it is the biggest thing that I could have ever done for any business. And I think too, I don't care what business you're in, there's no excuse to not have a website. But they put together a team and they built me a website, for crying out loud. And it works. They help do the SEO, that search engine optimization. So now anyone in the Mahoning Valley that does an internet search on their phone, I want to buy firewood, I'm the first name that comes up. They did help me with marketing. They paired me with a graphic designer. They came up with this really cool logo and my company slogan, and really all of my paper literature that we have. We've made these cut sheets that go to potential clients, restaurants, retailers that want to sell our bundled merchandise. And all of our written literature was made by her, and that was a relationship developed by the SBDC. They helped me understand my supply chain. They would point me in other directions and try to expand where I can get, the supply here that I need. I had started this tradition here too. We have a yearly open house, and it started getting really big, and we started getting manufacturers coming to demonstrate their machines. And I mentioned this to the SBDC, really just as a courtesy, because I was wanting them just to come out and see it. But there was no. They had They says, Joe, we're going to write press releases for you. We have contacts in different industries that loosely associate with you. And I'm serious. They were here for the entire day, and they were bringing in all these really interesting people from the Mahoning Valley that have an interest in this kind of stuff. And it was just like a nice networking opportunity. I think it's just natural that you want to go out and find someone that can give you some advice, that's got some expertise that maybe you don't, that maybe has some insight that you don't have. And that is, the role that the SBDC had with me. I went to them because what the heck, it's the Small Business Development Center, and that's how I thought this is a good place to start.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers. Fiercely local, fiercely loyal.